Nyla Valencia here, member of the Iowa Women's Wrestling Program, gearing up for U23 World Championships. Wanted to touch on a few things with you today because you've been pretty busy. I feel like dating all the way back to late spring, early summer. A lot of traveling, a lot of competitions. Now you're doing the college thing. I guess maybe let's start there. How have the first few weeks of being here in Iowa, going to class, doing all that, how's that been so far?
It's been busy. I mean, I've had to learn how to transition from one thing to the next pretty quickly. I've never been used to having this super packed schedule, like or practice in the morning and then straight to class. And this is something that the coaches emphasized coming into college is you need to be able to go from one thing to the next. And so having to do that was pretty difficult in the beginning, but I'm all about habits, and so it's kind of become a habitual thing. And so now I'm just so used to it, and I'm thriving on this super busy schedule, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I know that, I don't know, sometimes people are like intimidated by the college lifestyle, but like talking to athletes over the years, like you guys get a lot of freedom, right? Like picking
really
class
do.
schedule, making sure it coincides with training schedule. And,
Yeah.
that's probably super important, especially for some of you who go and compete and train and whatnot internationally.
Yeah, the ability to create my own schedule is probably one of the things I looked forward to the most in college, is because my days have always been planned according to my coach's schedules, or really just high school, and that's structured. And so coming in and being able to choose when I get to train and when I get to have my classes, there is that level of flexibility and that freedom, and I think it's allowed me to transcend because I get to come back whenever I want for a second session, kind of just fit in a film session or get some extra technique down on the mat. And so it's really on my time, which is nice. I've never had that, so
That's really cool. What's been the coolest part about transitioning, just life out here in Iowa, doing the school thing, doing the wrestling thing?
I think the coolest part so far has been really just seeing our teammates grow together. I feel like we're all becoming a sisterhood, and I've always been pretty independent in my wrestling career. It's really just been me and my dad and my brother. I've never had a teammate, or kind of like a teammate lifestyle. So really just seeing us work hard and pushing together over these past couple of months has been pretty incredible. And just having the resources here, I mean, we have stuff here that nobody else has, and just to be able to appreciate that and take advantage of it is incredible too.
Yeah. I feel like I refer to this season for you guys as like the redshirt year, because you don't start officially competing until next year, but like I know that there's a lot of like open tournaments and stuff, and there's something of a schedule for you guys this year. I mean, have you guys like talked about like kind of what the plan is for this year, or maybe what you guys as athletes want to get out of this first year on campus?
Yeah, so this is a redshirt year. I like to think of this as a growth year, because this is the year where I get to really transition from sort of like my pre-college life to college life. And so I want to take advantage of really just being able to thrive in this environment, in this situation, before the season starts getting crazy and hectic. But I am going to be competing in some open tournaments, and I think the focus for me is to try and hit as many senior tournaments as I can, get feels on international bodies. I think Coach brought in some girls from Japan, which was incredible, which was really great. And so I think if we can, continue getting those feels, that'd be great. For
Japanese wrestlers are pretty good, right?
They're pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just, I was talking to Coach earlier, just a lot of different cool things that she's got planned for you guys in this first year. And I was also talking to Felicity, like this upcoming U23 World Championships, kind of a, with you and her specifically on the team, kind of a cool, small little preview about like what to expect when it comes to like watching you girls wrestle. What has training for this particular event been like? I know we touched a little bit on it before we hit record here, but what's it been like for you specifically getting ready for it?
It's been crazy. I've never trained this hard in my entire life. I've been probably on the mat 5-6 hours a day, just really just finding opportunities in these moments to push my mind and my body as much as I can. And it really takes a lot of discipline to be able to do what I've been doing. And I'm proud of the way I've been preparing. I feel very confident going to the tournament, but I think I've done everything I possibly can. I've hit every single area. I've hit so many repetitions, and I have my routine before and after practice. And just, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's all about going out and competing and letting it fly, and we'll see where that gets me. But yeah.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of international experience, not a ton, maybe a little.
Little bit.
Yeah.
I think I've hit probably, I want to say 4 international tournaments. I've hit Pan Am's was my first one, and then I hit the Klippan Open when I was 14. That was in Sweden. I hit 2 international tournaments this past year, one in Spain and one in Canada, and then this is going to be my 5th one actually. 5th one.
There you go.
The biggest one. But, yeah.
A world championship event.
A world championship. I know. I think it's crazy because I didn't even compete at the age level world championships. This is like I'm kind of jumping into like a senior level world championship, U23.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I've had my senior experiences with like competing against older girls and bigger bodies. I mean, that's why I'm really glad Felicity's here, because she's kind of like that similar feel, and she's competed at U23. So she's been my partner up until this point, and so we're just kind of getting each other better, really, just wrestling and, you know, working on things that the international girls are going to do, like clinging and just all these different positions. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of what I was curious, what maybe specifically you've been working on with, you know, your international experience, working with Felicity, working with Clarissa, like what specifically maybe have you been working on to get ready for U23s?
Ooh, we've been working primarily on the hand fight, so specifically clearing ties and really just getting to my offense and my attacks off of what they're doing. And it's the coaches have emphasized, you know, getting to my stuff, not being defensive. So I think the hand fight is the most important part of a match. You know, if you can't clear out of things, if you can't control, then there's really no point. There's no opportunity to score, and then no points. So, yeah, that's what we've been working heavily on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and developing my primary and secondary attacks.
There you go. I know that this will be the first time you've competed since probably spring, summer-ish, when it felt like you had a stretch of like a few weeks where you just did nothing but compete, right? Like you were doing age level stuff, you were doing senior level stuff, you were, you know, I think you went overseas for a tournament, or at least you left the country.
Time. It was crazy. Yeah. After it all started with age level world trials, I made the team, and I thought I made the team. Apparently they put in a couple new rules in there, so I had to go and compete at a qualifier for the senior world trials, and then I had to compete at the senior world trials and try and place higher than any of the age eligible girls.
Yeah. And
then after that, I actually had the Junior Olympics in judo a couple weeks after that. Yeah, and that was a massive cut, and that was just its own preparation. But after that, I think, I had a little bit of a break, and then I went to Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I had some time, and then I went to camp, and it really just, But it was back to back to back. I mean, I've never been that exhausted from competing. It's never happened to me before, but I got so many matches in, which is, you know, that's awesome within itself. So
yeah, I know it's been a while, but like, what did you learn about yourself or your wrestling during that stretch? Because I mean, not only was it just a lot of matches, a lot of high level matches, right? Like the age level stuff, the you know, various high level competitions that you were at. Like you got some like really, really good matches in.
I really did. I wrestled with girls like Erin and Emily. I wrestled a girl that competed with Sarah Hildebrandt in the Olympics, and it just really, through all these matches, it just showed me that I'm capable of so much more than I actually believe, and really helped with my confidence. I kind of struggled with that a little bit over the years, and so now I'm really developing that self-belief in myself. And so just being able to go, 14 matches, or I think I had 14 matches at age level world trials, and that just showed me, you know, I can be resilient even when I take a loss, and I can bounce back and, you know, work my way up and fight through all that, and just be a madman.
Absolutely. Well, I was talking to Felicity about this too, just, you know, where does the confidence like manifest itself like on the mat for you, right? Like hers, it's, you know, getting to her shots, getting to her transitions to turns, or just working on top. Where does, when you think, you know, when you say you have more confidence going into a match, like where does that manifest itself for you?
really manifests in the hand fight. I think it's because I spent so much time in there. I feel really strong being able to just control people in those ties. And I'm a repetition person.
Yeah.
I believe in doing things over and over and over again and getting all that mat time in. So just hand fighting for 30-40 minutes and just getting to my attacks, that's where all of my confidence lies, in being able to get people off balance and get to my stuff within the hand fight, which I think is super important. And then really just being able to score off of there.
Absolutely. After that stretch of competing, I mean, this is something we talked about too, you went through a series of like training camps, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you were one of the training partners for the senior world team, is that right?
Yes.
What was that experience like?
That was incredible. I remember Coach Tara came up to me and asked if I'd be willing to go with Sarah, and I was ecstatic, because that meant that, first of all, Sarah had liked my feel, and that meant a lot to me already. That already boosted my confidence, and that I could go overseas and really see the senior world trials or the world championships kind of in action before I went to go compete. So I got to see what the morale was between the team and how these different girls prepared for their matches, and it kind of just got me ready mentally, because now I know what to expect when I go and compete, and I think that's super important. And yeah, it was an incredible experience. I got the most out of my training there on top of that, so I wasn't just a partner for Sarah, I was out there making my own opportunities, and I think that's super important when you go overseas. And I got my hands on some French girls, got my hands on Yui Sasaki, and some, I think, a Russian girl too, but just really making the most out of that trip for me.
Yeah. What'd you learn about, wrestling some of those international women? And I mean, really specifically, like, Susaki, like she's pretty good, right?
Yeah, she is quick. I quickly noticed that she was quick. Not, crazy strong, but she is quick. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people struggle with her, is her speed, for sure. And I noticed, every wrestler has a very different style. The French girls, they wrestle completely different than like a Japanese girl or a Russian girl. And just being able to wrestle those three different styles and learn how to adapt and find positions that may work on other people, and just kind of come back and work on those things. Like French girls, they cling a lot, and Sasaki, she wrestles kind of from the outside, or she waits for those subtleties, and she does a lot of quick fakes, and has like this super fast twitch, almost like this quick energy. So yeah, I learned a lot there for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and then the other thing I was kind of curious about is, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but like being around the senior national or senior world team, watching them get ready for their matches, then watching them go compete, like what did you learn about like, their process, like how Sarah approaches, pre-match, post-match, things of that nature? Like what'd you take away?
Well, before, I noticed with the majority of them, they were very calm. So they would, they all had their own processes with that, whether it was kind of like bouncing around or with their headphones on, or if they were in the corner doing their own thing. But they were all pretty calm, and they all had a great attitude, and very just smiley and bubbly, showing their personality, all very focused. And I think one of my biggest takeaways after watching Sarah lose in the semis is she found a way to flip that switch and get ready for her next match right away. Like, she had no time to be upset about the loss. I kind of have a hard time with this myself. If I lose a match, I get pretty emotional, and none of them were emotional. They found a way to come right back and just get ready for the next match, because it's all we can really do. And the transition from the next match to in between those matches is really quick. And so yeah, I think learning from that and being able to adjust in those mid-match moments is super important, and I'm glad I got to see that with my own eyes.
Yeah. I know that I just talking to athletes and talking to coaches over the years, like, especially coaches, like they'll stress the whole, control what you could control, your attitude and your effort. And, I feel like maybe for you, you've been in a lot of high level tournaments, so maybe this doesn't directly apply, but like to see that that's what the senior level athletes do, like that's what like a Sarah Hildebrand does at the world championships, like it almost makes that lesson hit home a little bit more, right?
Oh yeah. They were all super disciplined, so they all brought their own food. It was very different. Like, they ate very specific things. They went to bed at a specific time. Like, they were very, very disciplined. And that, again, I've never seen that or witnessed that. And I was almost gonna room with her, but she has like her like this regimen that she does every single day to kind of get ready from the days leading up to the competition, that was pretty different. Like, I think she had, I think it was like a journal or something. I don't know, she had something, I kind of got a glimpse of it, but she did it pretty routinely, like on a daily basis, just jotting down some different stuff. And, you know, that's something that I can take away and implement. And, you know, if I know that the senior level girls are doing it, then it's probably working. So I might adopt it.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
That kind of led into one of the last things I wanted to ask you was just, you know, all these experiences competing, watching how the best of the best do it. Like, you know, in what ways has that kind of helped or added to like your preparation as you get ready to head to Spain?
Well, I mean, seeing the morale at the tournament has definitely made me a little bit more kind of motivated to train really hard. And I know I've attended a couple camps leading up to that tournament, so I know what the training was like, and the training was pretty intense. So I kind of took advantage of being here for about a month, and I just, you know, like I said, trained with a purpose, with an intention every single day. Just kind of putting myself in the mentality that I'm good enough to be at that level, and, you know, if I really believe in my capabilities, then I could possibly, you know, I could win it or make podium. I mean, that's how much I believe in myself right now, and I think that experience was important in creating that for me. So
absolutely. Also pretty cool that, you know, both you and Felicity, two members of this team that won't compete for another year, but like still, you know, out there repping USA. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm super glad that I am able to do this with her. I mean, we've grown over the past couple months, and we're, like I said, we're training partners, and so we're gonna go out there as Hawkeyes and as part of Team USA with our coach, and it's just kind of, it's really cool. It's kind of like a trial for this when the season starts, like how we're going to compete together. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I was joking with Felicity earlier, like, do you feel like the old vet on the team? You know, because she's done the college thing and now she transferred over here. But, you know, like, how valuable has that been to have, you know, a resource like her? You know, I know Nene has gone through the college season before, just to kind of be there as a resource for a lot of you freshmen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I ask her questions all the time about, like, how the training differs from where she was at to now, and she says it's huge. And she is somebody that I look up to as, like, an older sister, as, like, an older, you know, teammate, because she has been through those experiences. She's been to the U23 championships. She's already been through the college season. So I ask, you know, anytime I'm curious about something, that's the first person I go to, because she knows and understands. And, you know, she's a super sweet girl, awesome personality. So definitely someone I enjoy being around. And yeah.
That's awesome. Nyla, I think that was everything I had for you, unless there was anything else you wanted to add.
Nope, that's it.